All right, and so I'm just going to mention again that for this class, we're going to use weights. You might want a heavy set and a light set of weights. We are going to use a block, and you'll need some sort of a strap or a band that you can pull on. And so as we begin, we're going to make our way over to our mats, and we'll begin lying down, and you're going to want to have the block and the lighter set of weights right near you. So that they're readily available. So we'll start lying down, and if you like to have a blanket under your head when you're lying down, go ahead and do that, or a pillow. Let's begin by just feeling what we're feeling, because we only feel in the present moment. Feeling is not something we do in the past or the future. You know, we can think about the past or the future, but when we are feeling sensation, it's happening in the here and now. So by focusing on what we're feeling, it brings us into the present moment. And that's going to be what we're going to try and do for this next hour. Whatever else is going on in our lives, in the world, we don't need to really focus on that all the time. You need to take little breaks. And this time when we do our yoga practice is a time to focus on what we're experiencing in the here and now. So feel the feeling of your body as it connects to the ground beneath you. Notice where you might be holding tension. Notice any areas where you habitually clench or grip, and relax those areas if you can. Take a moment to release and soften the roof of your mouth. And take a little time now to deepen your breathing, noticing how it feels to breathe in deeply and fully, expansively, and how it feels when you allow the exhale to empty out of you all the way till the diaphragm releases. And do a few more rounds of nice, full, deep, relaxed breathing, taking all the time that you need for that expansive breath in and that full emptying of breath out. Breathing in through the nose if that's available to you, moisturizing and kind of cleansing the breath. Breathing out either through the nose or through the mouth, whatever is better for you. What can allow you to release the breath fully? And notice if there's been a shift in the way you feel as a product of just doing a few rounds of this deep, full, relaxing breath with the fullness of the exhale. So one more round of breath like this, taking your time to breathe in and breathe out. And then transitioning to a more natural breath rhythm, just take a moment to acknowledge and recognize how you're feeling today. What's your energy level? Is there any sort of aches or pains that you need to be aware of? How do you want to treat yourself? What would you like to offer yourself? So being sure to pay attention to how you're feeling as you move this morning, and modifying in any way that seems appropriate for how you're feeling today. So with that awareness, with that focus, Let's go ahead and open our eyes. And we'll begin by just taking one leg and hugging the knee in and extending the other leg out on the mat, on the floor. That leg that's on the floor, you can wiggle it, shake it a little bit, let it be nice and loose as you hug the other knee in. And then reach around and grab the back of that thigh. And I want you to point the foot and take the leg up in the air with a pointed foot. And then flex your foot and bring the heel down. And then point your foot and take the leg up in the air and flex the foot and bring the heel down. One more time like that. Point and lift and then flex and bring it down. Now we're going to keep the foot flexed as we lift it up, and then we'll point the toes at the top and bring it down. So we're flexing the foot and taking the leg up, pointing the toes, bringing the leg down. One more time like that. Flexing as you go up and pointing as you come down. And then let's just change legs. So we're going to hug the other knee in. That first leg goes out straight on the floor. You can bounce it or wiggle it. Let it be heavy, the leg that's on the ground, as you hug the other knee in close. And then reach around and grab the back of that leg. We're going to point the toes and lift the leg up. We'll flex the foot and bring the heel down. Pointing the toes, we'll lift the leg up. Flexing, we'll bring the heel down. One more time like that, pointing to lift and flexing to lower. And then keeping the foot flexed, we'll lift up, we'll point and lower. Flex at the bottom and lift up, point and lower. One more time, flex as you go up and point as you come down. Nice job. All right, release that foot down. Both feet on the floor now. We're going to focus on knitting the ribs. All right, so go ahead and grab your ribs. Take a breath in. As you exhale, just with your hands on your ribs, notice how they kind of fall a little bit in and down. And then kind of use your hands to knit them a little bit more, in and down. Kind of like you're putting a corset on or tying a shoelace, kind of pulling the ribs in and down. So we're going to breathe in. You can feel the natural moving up and apart of the ribs. And we're going to breathe out and knit the ribs in and down. Feel that action and exaggerate it with your hands. So just do that one more time. On your exhale, knit your ribs in and down. Great. All right. So now take your hands behind your head, clasp your hands, let the weight of your head rest in your hands, a little bit off the floor. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, do that same action of knitting the ribs in and down to lift your head, neck, and shoulders up. And then can you keep this knitting of the ribs as you take your head back and down? So the ribs stay knit as your head releases back and down. And then exhale, knit your ribs and come on up. And inhale, releasing back. We're going to try and keep that knitting of the ribs the whole time. Exhale, knit the ribs maybe a little bit more. Keeping the ribs knit as you release back. And breathe in. And a couple more like that. So we're just doing that continuous knitting of the ribs. They probably increase a little bit as you come up, but can you keep that knitting as you go back? So you get a little stretch in the front of the chest. One more time, knitting the ribs on the exhale as you come up and keeping that knitting as you release back. And then once your head is all the way back, you can release your hands from behind your head. You can relax the knitting of your ribs. And I'd like you to find your lighter weights and pick up your lighter weights. So now, with the lighter weights in your hand, we're going to reach the arms up toward the ceiling. And of course, when our arms come up, we sometimes lift our shoulders up and reach our shoulders up as well. So can we drop the back of the shoulders down? The weights should assist in that action of releasing the back of the shoulders down. And then we're going to open the arms out to the side. Keep your elbows soft and hold your arms just a little bit off the floor. So the back of the shoulders now, if you kind of hollow out your armpits, you might feel more of the back of your shoulder on the floor. And can you keep the back of your shoulder on the floor? Maybe knit your ribs a little bit here. And then start to bring your arms up. So can you bring your arms up without lifting the back of your shoulders on the floor? We're trying to reset the shoulders here a bit. So keep a little knitting of your ribs and then open the arms out again. Keep your elbows a little bit soft, a little bit bent. Take them out quite wide, a little bit off the floor. Take a breath. And then keeping the shoulders on the floor, the back of the shoulders as your arms come slowly, gradually up toward the ceiling. All right, so the back of the shoulders are dropped back. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, knit your ribs again. And now with your ribs knit, can you reach your arms overhead? So this can become rather challenging because when the arms go overhead, the ribs are going to want to pop up toward the ceiling. So go slowly, gradually, and see if you can keep your ribs knit as you take your arms up, because this will help you free up the shoulders a little bit. So maybe the bell will touch the floor as your arms go overhead. Maybe you can't get quite that far. And then can you press the back of your shoulder into the floor as you bring your arms back up? All right, you can relax the knitting of your ribs and take a breath. As you exhale again, knit the ribs down into your belly, and can you keep the ribs knit as you reach your arms overhead? Try to resist letting the ribs pop up toward the ceiling so that the movement comes all from the shoulder. Take a breath with your arms overhead, and as you exhale, knit your ribs again if they've released at all, and then reach your arms straight up toward the ceiling. Nice job. All right. Keeping the elbows where they are, we're just going to bend the lower part of your arm, your forearm, back towards your forehead, and then we're going to press straight up. So we're just doing a little bit of tricep work here, bending back and pressing up. Bending back and pressing up. So they're just going straight back towards your head and pressing straight up toward the ceiling. You might start to feel a little work in the back of the upper arm, bending back and pressing up. These are called skull crushers. If you have a bar, you'd be crushing your skull right now. So you're coming right to your skull line as you bend back and press up. And we'll do these a few more times, bending back and pressing up, and bending back and pressing up. Two more like this. No movement from the shoulder to the elbow, just that lower arm. Next time your arms come up, you can drop them down. You can set the weights down on the floor. And let's find our block now. We'll target the lower belly a little bit. Take that block, excuse me, the medium width between your thighs, kind of halfway between your knees and your torso. Hugging onto the block, your arms can be down to your side. We're going to lift the feet off the floor, bring the knees up over the hips, and then with control, lower the feet back down. Try not to let your back arch. As your feet come down, relax and take a breath. Again, hug onto the block, bring your knees up, and then lower down slowly, gradually, not letting your back arch up off the floor. Once your feet are down, take a breath. Again, hug and lift your knees. Lowering down with control. Feet come down, relax and take a breath. Again, hug and bring your knees up. Now this time, take your legs up in the air, and can you reverse curl? Curl those hips up, lift them up a little bit, and then release that. Bend your knees and lower your feet to the floor. Take a breath, and then hug, bring your knees up, bring your legs up, curl the hips up. Try not to use your arms here, use your low belly. Bend your knees, lower down with control. Once the feet are down, take a breath. A couple more like that. Hug the block, bring your knees up, bring your legs up, curl your hips up, release your hips, bend your knees, release your feet down, relax and take a breath. Last one, hug the block, bring your knees up, bring your legs up, and curl those hips up and then release. Now just come to bent knees. You can take your arms out to the side if you like. We're just going to take the legs slightly to one side. It's not a big movement, just until you feel the opposite side waist contract a little bit, and then bring your knees back to center. Take the knees just a little bit to the other side until you feel the opposite side waist contract, and then bring the knees back. One more time. Take the knees over to one side, and you'll feel this opposite side waist engaging to support the movement of the legs. And then bring the knees back, and then just slightly over the other direction, still hugging onto the block, opposite side waist kicks in, and then bring the knees back. Okay, let's take the block out, release the feet down, and we'll roll to the side facing your device. So as you come on your side, you could have a pillow under your head or just use your arm. We're going to stack the knees and place our other hand on top of that hip. Let's lift the leg, the top leg, to the height of the hip. And we're going to bring the knee in, and then we're going to press the heel out straight in line with your body. We'll bring the knee in, and we'll press the leg out straight. And one more time like that. Bring the knee in and press the leg out straight. All right, now we're going to point the toe and take the leg behind, and then we're going to swing the leg forward and flex the foot. We're going to point the toe and take the leg behind, swing the leg forward and flex the foot, keeping it at the height of the hip. We're going to do that back and forward again. We're just stabilizing with that hip. And then take the leg straight. Oh, I forgot to say, lift up your bottom side waist a little bit to kind of straighten out your spine. All right, so with the leg here, let's lift it up and bring it down. Bring it just to the height of the hip. Lift it up and bring it down. Lift it up and bring it down. One more time like that. And then we're going to do little circles. Let's point the toe. We're going to circle the leg forward, up, back, and around. Forward, up, back, and around. Forward, up, back, and around. Can you go the other way? Swing it back, up, forward, and in. So the torso is not moving. That bottom side waist is a little bit engaged. And we're just isolating this work in the hip, the outer thigh. One more time. Nice. We'll just relax that leg on the other leg. Let's push ourselves up, and we'll swing our legs around to the other side. So again, supporting your head in any way that works for you. Bending the knees on a right angle forward towards your device. Hands on your hips. And then take that top leg to the height of the hip. And bring the knee in and extend the leg out straight, lined up with your body. Bring the knee in and extend the leg out. Press out through your heel. Bring the knee in and press the leg out straight. One more time like that. All right. Let's point the toe and take the leg a little bit back, and then swing the leg forward, and we'll flex the foot. Point the toe as you go behind. Flex the foot as you come forward. Again, keeping it at the height of the hip. Oh, and once again, I forgot to mention, engage your bottom side waist a little bit to straighten out your spine. One more time, point the toe back and flex the foot forward. And then, with the pointed toe, we're going to circle. Start in one direction. Just circling about the height of the hip. And then we'll circle the other direction. Yeah, just trying to maintain some strength and mobility in the muscles of the hip here. Two more like this. And then we're going to do just that lift and lower. A little bit higher, and then about the height of the hip. Just two more like that. Nice work. All right, great. Rest that leg on the other leg, and let's come around to all fours. course, cushioning your knees if that's better for you. Getting nice and square here. Finding length in your spine. Gazing down at the floor. Now, we were knitting our ribs when we were laying on our back. Could you knit your ribs a little bit in this position? Just kind of feel like you're kind of putting on a little corset or kind of wrapping, tying your shoes, like you're pulling your ribs into your belly. You're finding length in your spine. The gaze is down at the floor. Take a breath here. And then can you keep your ribs a little bit knit, but start to arch your back? So you're going to lift your tailbone and you're going to extend through your spine. Rather than just let the belly drop, you're knitting your ribs a little bit and then pull your heart forward. So there's a little more of a tug there. And then come to your flat back and then round. So now the ribs are knitting really strongly into the belly as you round. And then come back to flat back, but keep a little bit of that knitting of the ribs as you start to arch. So there's a little more containment there, but potential for a little more length through the chest. One more time. We're going to round the spine, ribs very naturally knit into the belly here. And then can you keep the ribs a little bit knit as you extend and arch and breathe in. All right, and then come to your flat back. Let's sit back on our heels and take child's pose. Maybe arms out in front, maybe arms supporting your head. Take a moment to check in and breathe here. Great. All right, let's lift our heads up and reach our arms way out in front, and we'll make our way to downward facing dog. Pressing down to lift the hips up and back, feeling the hands planted, feeling that lift and lengthening of the spine. Let your head just release and dangle. Relax your neck. Traction your spine with the weight of your head. You might shake it a little bit side to side. Breathe in and out here. Let's walk our hands back towards our feet then. Dropping the heels down, folded over bent knees. And then we'll draw the belly in and start to roll ourselves up. Let your arm just be a little weight. And let your spine stack vertebra by vertebra. Slowly, gradually coming up. Eventually bringing the head up. Great. All right. So let's turn towards our device and pick up our lighter weights. I think lighter weights. Yeah. All right. So starting with your feet beneath you, we're going to just lift the heels. We could lift the heels a little bit. Could we lift them higher and then lower down? So as we lift the heels, we're just going to take the arms out and lower down. We're going to lateral raise as we lift the heels. Warming up and strengthening the ankles and the calves as we work the shoulders a little bit here. We can inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. All right. So in a moment, we're going to change the arms. The arms are going to go out and then they're going to go up. And as they go up, we're going to have the palms facing. And as they go out, we're going to have the palms forward. And as they come down, we're going to have the arms down at our side. Now, as the arms go up in the air, I want us to see if we can knit the ribs a little bit. All right. So, and we're going to do the heel raise at the same time. So we're going to go out and then we're going to go up. And I want you to exhale as your arms go up. We're going to inhale as the arms come out and exhale as the arms go down. So we're going to inhale out, exhale, knit the ribs as your arms go up. Inhale as you lift your heels and go out. Exhale and go down. So inhale, lift your heels, arms go out. Exhale, knit your ribs and lift your arms up. Inhale, arms go out. Exhale, lower down. A couple more like that. Take the arms out. Exhale as your arms go overhead. Inhale as your arms go out and exhale to lower. Let's do 2 more. Inhale here. Exhale as your arms go up. Inhale out to the side. Exhale down. Last one. Inhale out. Exhale as your arms go up. Inhale out and exhale down. Nice work. All right, you might separate your feet a little wider. We're going to do some squats. Let's bring the weights by our shoulders. You could use heavier weights here if you like. We're just going to sit back into a squat, bending the knees forward, sinking down as low as works for your body, and then pushing down to rise up and press up. Sitting back and pushing up, sitting back and pushing up. If we like, when we come up, we can lift one leg. So lift one knee and sit back. Lift the other knee and sit back. Lift the other knee and sit back. Let's do a few more of these. And sit. Lift the knee and sit. Lift the knee and sit. 2 more. Lift and sit. Lift. Now, as you're sitting here, put your weights down. Your hands can be, let's just keep our hands here. We're just going to step to the side, sit into a squat. Step back in, sit into a squat. Out to the other side, sit into a wide-legged squat. Step in, regular squat. Out to the side, sit and squat. In, sit and squat. Out to the side, sit and squat. In, 1 more time each side. Out to the side, sit and squat. Center, squat. Out to the side, sit and squat. Center, sit. Nice job. Push down to rise up. Relax your arms. All right. I was going to do this before we did all that shoulder work, but we'll still do it anyway. We're going to pick up our stretchy band and stand with our feet beneath us. So this whole idea that if we knit the ribs when we take the arms up, you know, when we take the arms up and we let the ribs pop forward, we're moving more from the trunk and less from the arms. But if we can knit the ribs and lift the arms up, then the movement is coming from the shoulders. So take a breath in and then knit your ribs in and down on your exhale. And then take your arms forward and up. Yeah. Now bring them down. So we're going to take a breath in first. We're going to exhale and knit the ribs. And as we knit the ribs on the exhale, we're going to lift the arms up. Yeah. Now, you can even lift your chest a little bit. Lift your chin a little bit. Inhale and lower your arms. So exhale, knit your ribs and lift your arms up. Lift your chest, lift your chin a little bit. And then inhale and lower. Again, exhale, knit your ribs, lift your arms, keep your ribs knit, but lift your chest, lift your chin a little bit. Now take the arms behind, pull it apart. Exhale, overhead. Inhale behind. Can you keep your ribs knit? Exhale, overhead. I'm sorry, inhale, overhead. Exhale, behind. Wait. Take a breath in. Exhale here. Inhale overhead. And just bring your arms down. All right. Set that aside. We're going to come and stand at the front of our mat. So as we're standing, we're going to root the feet down. We're going to try to stand up nice and tall, but we're going to knit the ribs. When we knit the ribs, the tendency is for the body to round forward. So we're going to knit the ribs and then think about lifting the sternum, lifting the head, but keeping the chin kind of tucked. Like last week, we tucked the chin and thought about lifting from the back of the upper part of the head. Can we do all that and keep the ribs knit, ideally? All right. From this rooted posture, let's reach the arms out. Inhale and reach up. And we'll exhale and swan dive forward. Letting the head hang, letting the arms hang. We're going to take a breath into the upper back. And as we exhale, we're going to extend the heart forward. Fingertips could be on the floor here, or you could place your hands on your shin. We're going to inhale into the upper back again as we round over. And then as we exhale, we'll bring our hands to the floor, make our way back to downward facing dog. Hands push down, hips lift up and back. We'll breathe in. And exhale to straight arm plank. So pushing the floor away here, feeling the weight under the whole hand. Heels can go back a little bit as the crown of the head extends forward. Can you notice where your head is in space? Some of us, our head drops down. Some of us, our chin goes forward. Can we just let the ear be in line with the hip, shoulders, and ankle? We'll take a breath here. And then we might drop to knees. And we're going to lower all the way down onto belly. So we have a theme of knitting the ribs this morning. And we've done it in different orientations. So as you come into your prone mountain, kind of tucking your chin and lengthening through the crown of your head, reaching back through your toes, can you take a breath in and on your next inhale, knit your ribs as you're here? So it's a little different sensation to knit your ribs when you're prone in this way, but we can still do it. So now, as we're knitting the ribs in, can you start to inhale up to baby cobra? It's quite different and rather challenging. So we're trying to lift up to baby cobra as we're knitting the ribs. And then we'll lower back down. Maybe take a break. We're going to try that again. Breathe in. Exhale, knit your ribs. With your ribs knit, try to lift up to baby cobra. Could you keep all that happening as you lift your hands, lift your elbows, hug in? Then release your hands and lower down. Relax. Take a breath in. As you exhale, knit your ribs into your belly. As you're knitting those ribs in, again, start to lift up into baby cobra. And maybe you could come up a little higher, keeping your ribs knit. It's a lot of work. And then lower back down. Nice work. All right, let's push up to knees. Curl the toes under, lift the knees, and lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Let's again lower to straight arm plank. From here, let's roll to side plank. We're going to turn towards our device. You could just roll to the sides of the feet, or you could drop to the back knee and do it on a knee, or you could be just one foot in front of the other, lifting up into side plank. As we're here, could we lift the hips a little bit? This is like what we do when we're laying on our side. We just kind of activate this bottom sideways to lift up a little bit, and then lower down and lift up, and lower down and lift up, and lower down. If this is too much on your wrist, you could drop onto your forearm. Lower down and lift up. Let's do 3 more. And lift up, lower down and lift up, lower down and lift up. Nice job. Come back to your plank, lift up to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Lower to your straight arm plank. And again, you could drop to one knee and turn on the knee, or you could just roll to the sides of your feet. Lift that arm up. And could you lift the hips up and lower down? Lift the hips up and lower down. Lift them up and lower down. Lift. 3 more. Up and down. Up and down. Last one. Up and down. Come back to plank. Back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out. Exhale, straight arm plank. Let's try some push-ups. We could be knees off the floor or knees down. We're gonna lower all the way down and then push back up. Lower all the way down and push back up. Just a few more of these. Lowering all the way down and pushing back up. And all the way down and back up. This time we're going to lower all the way down, and then we're going to come onto forearms. Elbows right beneath shoulders. We're going to slice down to lift the chest. We'll curl the toes under. We can lift the hips and come onto the knees, or lift the knees as well. Pushing the floor away. Heels go back. Neck is long. You could even try knitting your ribs here. It'll give you a little more support. And we're going to stay for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, nice work. Lower down. Let your chest sink. Let your elbows go wide. Let your head rest on your hands. Let your neck and shoulders relax. Let everything relax. Take a few breaths here. Check in. All right, now we're going to press the front of the hips down and lift the legs up. Legs are lifted, toes are pointed. Can you turn your heels in a bit? Hug your heels in towards your midline. Separate the legs. Hug the heels in towards your midline. Separate the legs. Hug the heels in toward the midline. The legs are lifted the whole time. 2 more. Hug them in and separate. And again, hug them in and separate. Relax your legs down. Let's hover the head and bring our arms to our side. Now, we're going to do locust pose. Extra credit if you can knit your ribs here. All right, knit your ribs, press your hips down, lift your legs up, and then reaching back with your ribs knit, lift your chest. Oh, that's hard. Reaching back, pull the heart forward, knit the ribs, lift the legs, breathe. And then lower down. Nice work. Okay, we're going to push back to knees and take child's pose. Sitting back on your heels, rounding your back, breathing into that rounded back, and letting the breath empty out. Okay, we're going to come up onto our knees now. We're going to put all the weight on one knee, so if you want to cushion it with a blanket or something, go right ahead. Let's step one foot out in front. So this foot is in line with this hip, and the heel under the knee, or maybe slightly forward. So could you put a little weight into this bottom knee and shin, pushing down? And then feel your hip bone here, the front of your hip, and could you lift it up a little bit? So the front of the hip lifts up a little bit. So you're creating a little more space here. I don't really like to teach tail tuck. That's kind of a defensive, scared posture, but you can get that same sense of space in the front of the hip by thinking of lifting the front of the hip. So we've created some space here. We're putting a little weight in the back knee and shin, and now we're just going to let the front knee go a little bit forward to get a nice stretch right here. And as you're pushing down with that back knee and shin, let's lift that same arm up. And we'll breathe. And then we'll bring that arm down. Let's try that again if we knit the ribs. So take a breath in, exhale and knit your ribs down a little bit. Keep this hip lifted and reach the arm up. Well, so much to think about. But we can get a little greater freedom in that shoulder if we knit the ribs. Big breath. And then lower down. All right, now from here, this might be challenging for some of us who have like issues with our toes. So you might need a chair or a wall. Could you curl the back toes under and then push up into a lunge. Put your hands on your hips now. So can you go down into that deep lunge and then push up? Go down into that deep lunge. Some people could maybe touch the knee. That's a bit much for me. But go down as far as you can and push back up. Your feet are hip distance now, wide. Let's do 4 more like this. 4, and push up. And 3, and push up. And 2, and push up. This time, can we come all the way down onto that back knee? And we'll change legs. So we're going to take the other leg out in front. Have it in line with the knee and the hip, the heel right beneath the knee or maybe slightly in front of it. Now this back hip, I'll turn this way. This back hip, we're going to think about lifting it up a little bit. So the front of the hip lifts up as the back knee and chin press down. And then take that same arm up as you breathe in. And then bring it back down. All right, let's just lift this hip and just let this front knee move a little bit forward now. And then push back. Let the front knee move a little bit forward. And then push back. Now, front knee moves a little bit forward, hip is lifted. Could you knit the ribs a little bit and then reach that same arm up? And breathe in. And then bring it down. All right, here we go. Again, you might need a little support here to do this if your toes don't curl under appropriately. But can you get up into a lunge here? Feet hip distance apart, hands can go to hips, and then we're gonna straighten and nice, see how far down you can go with that back knee. And push up, ooh, and go down. And push up, and go down. And push up. Let's do 4 more. Push up, and go down. And 3, and down. And 2, and down. Last one. Now this time, rather than bringing the knee all the way to the floor, bring your hands to heart, lean forward. And we're just going to step that back foot in. So we're going to end up sitting back in a chair. I'm going to turn towards you guys. Sit back in a chair, reach your arms forward. All right, you're nice and low, your hips are low. Now, could you reach your arms up? Knit your ribs, reach your arms up. Good, push down into your feet and legs, rise up, breathe in. We'll exhale our arms down at our side. All right, let's pick up our heavier weights and we'll come into a wide stance. We'll turn the left foot in and the right foot out. Okay, so we're gonna bring the elbows by our waist. We're gonna bend the front knee. As we bend the knee, we'll curl up. Get nice good distance here, both feet planted, hips level, shoulders over hips. And then we're gonna straighten the leg and lower down. Bend and curl, straighten and lower. Bend and curl, straighten and lower. Lowering with control, because the weight just want to drop the arms down quickly and lower with control. Curl and lower. Curl and lower. Curl and lower. Curl. We're going to do a bunch of these. All right. Now, same leg position, but we're going to take the arms up. So could you knit your ribs as your arms are overhead? And we're going to bend back and then press up. So really easy to push the ribs forward here. So let's really try to knit them in. So we're moving from the shoulders and not from the spine. We're bending back and pressing up. Let's do 4 more of these. And up 3 more, and up. 2 more, and up. Trying to keep the elbows in. Last one, and up. All right, bring your arms down. Let's go forward and then around to the other side. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna bend that knee, find that position, elbows in. We'll curl up as we bend. Now, let's do hammer. So your fists are facing now. All right, your fists are facing the whole time. They're facing each other. Coming up and lowering down. Coming up, lowering down with control. Up and down. Up and down. So each time the front knee bends, the outer edge of the back foot stays pressed into the floor, which will work that ankle a little more and potentially create a little more action in the back hip. All right, 2 more like this, curling up and down. Nice job. And then take your arms up, knit your ribs in. As you bend the knee, go back and press up. So you're not arching your back. You're supporting the spine, keeping it neutral by knitting your ribs. Let's do 4 more. And up. 3 more. Up. 2 more. Up. Last one. Nice work. And down. Turn your feet in. Walk your feet together. This last one, I probably would, we're going to do reverse flies. I would switch to your lighter weights if I was you. We're going to stand at the front of our mat. We're going to sit, and then we're going to take a step back with one foot, doesn't matter which one. Step back into a lunge. And so we're going to be leaning forward here. Arms drop down. So one option is going to be to do this with the back foot on the floor. Another option is going to be to lift up into a balance and try to be parallel with the floor. Either way, we're going to reach the arms out to the side and lower down. So we're just doing a reverse fly here. So arms go out, straight out from the shoulder and down. Straight out from the shoulder and down. Lifting straight out and down. Working the back of the shoulder here. Let's do 4 more and down. And 3 more and down. And 2 more and down. And last one and down. Great. All right. You can step into that chair and then step back on the other leg. And then we're going to lean forward, and we could be raising here, or we could straighten the front leg, lift the back leg, tip forward, and lift from here. So it's those same muscles, reaching out to the side. Keeping the breath flowing here. Let's do 4 more. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Good work. Step back. We're just going to step in and straighten up. Nice work. All right. We're done with the weights. We're going to come all the way down onto our mats. And let's come onto our backs. We're going to come all the way down onto our back. We won't put the blanket under our head right for now. We're going to do some bridge variations. So, setting up for bridge, heels kind of close to your bum, arms down at your side. All right, so you're probably getting a little tired of knitting ribs, but we're going to do this one more time. If you knit your ribs in, you might be able to feel a little more of the back of your ribs on the floor. So with the back of the ribs on the floor, just do a little bridge to the point where only the ribs are down. The lower part of your spine is lifted. You've lifted your lumbar spine, not your thoracic spine. And then just release your lumbar spine kind of gradually, incrementally, until you lower onto your sacrum and then just relax into your neutral spine. Do that again. Your ribs are kind of knit, so the back of your ribs are on the floor, and then you curl up, lifting your sacrum, lifting your lumbar vertebrae, just to the point where the ribs are on the floor. And then release that slowly, gradually, incrementally, until you're down. Great. Okay, now, right now we have our feet on the floor. I want you to lift your forefoot. So just your heels are on the floor. And then we're gonna press up into a bridge. You can start just coming to where the ribs are, but then you can come up a little higher. You don't have to come up to your highest bridge, but you could have some of your lumbar, your thoracic spine up. So if you lift up with your heels on the floor, sometimes you can feel the back of the legs working a bit more. So now we're gonna do a heel march, if this works for your feet. So lift one leg up and put the heel down. Lift the other leg up and put the heel down. Lift the other leg up and put the heel down. Lift the other leg up, put the heel down. So you're hopefully starting to feel the hamstrings and glutes doing that work. As the heel goes down, that leg, hamstring and glutes, support the lifting of the other leg. So heel march a few more times, up and down. Now if you lift your hips a little higher, you'll work a little differently, maybe a little bit more. Lift the knee, heel. If the heel doesn't work for your feet, you can just be doing this with a flat foot. Let's do 4 more. And 3 more. And 2 more. And last one. Great. And lower yourself down. Nice work. All right, let's hug the knees in. Hug the knees in. Give yourself a little low back massage, swaying side to side. We'll sway center. Let's take the knees apart. Take a breath in. So you're gonna pull your knees apart with your hands. Now, place your hands on the insides of your knees. And as your hands are trying to push your knees apart, try and push your legs in. So your hands are pushing your knees apart, but your legs are pushing in. So your arms are working and your legs are working. Your inner thighs are working to pull in, and your arms are working to press out. There's action and resistance, and there's kind of equal pressure in both directions. Sometimes when we do these isometric movements, we stop breathing. So keep breathing as you're pushing and resisting, and do that action for 1 more breath. And then just let all that work fall away. You can let your feet come down for a moment. All right, then again, lift your feet up, grab your knees, pull them apart again. Now this time we're gonna do the opposite. Your hands are gonna push your knees in, but your legs are gonna press out. So your hands are pushing your knees together, your knees are pushing out into your hands. And they both wanna win. Your hands wanna win the push in, and your legs wanna win the push out. And they're both working really hard. So breathe as you do this. And then relax. Grab the back of the legs, take your legs up in the air. Let your hands push into, let your legs push into your hands. Your hands are pulling your legs in, and your legs are pushing into your hands. And take a breath. Can you feel your hamstrings working there? Relax that. Last one, your hands are going to push your knees away. Your knees are going to press back into your hands. Push and resist. And take a breath. And then release that. Great. Go ahead and straighten your legs. Reach your arms overhead. Take a big long breath, big stretch. Let your arms come now straight out to your side. Slide your legs in and let both knees drop over to one side. All the way over till your knees stack. Then reaching back with that arm behind. Take your gaze up or maybe back towards that arm behind you and breathe in and out here. Then lift your top leg and then your bottom leg. Come back to center, knees close to your body. Let the knees drop all the way over to the other side till the knees stack. And then reach back through the arm behind you, looking up or towards that arm behind you, and breathe in and out here. And then you can bring the top knee up and the bottom knee. And we'll start to transition to our final relaxation. So at this point, our goal is to make ourselves as comfortable as possible in the lying down position. So you might support under your knees, you might support under your head. It's a little chilly today, so maybe you put a blanket over you, put on a layer or some socks. Some people get kind of sweaty, and so then for sure you'd want to cover up if it's cold. So whatever works for you, whatever you can do to set yourself up to be comfortable, so that when you lie back now, all these muscles that we worked, and we really try to target the whole body. It's almost as many muscles as we can. Like the main movers have been worked. So now they're primed to relax. And we're just going to give them the time and space to do that. So the muscles in the feet, the legs, the arms and hands, all relaxing now. Heavy on the floor. The muscles in the belly, the gut, the hips, the seat, all dropping, releasing, relaxing into the floor. The shoulders, the back, the chest muscles, all softening and opening, releasing. And then the facial muscles. So we might have scrunched up our faces when we were doing the practice. And we're constantly shifting the muscles in the faces, working the muscles in the face in different ways. And here's an opportunity to let all those facial muscles just kind of soften away from the skull. Smooth out, release, unclench, unfurl. And then the mind has been focused and paying attention, but now give it some time to just be free, just relax, be open, and rest here. So you might be wanting to spend a little more time here relaxing, and feel free to do so. And if you're ready to come out, you can start to transition, bringing your feet to the floor, gently rolling to your side, taking your time, making your way up to sitting if you like. You can close out our practice, just bringing our hands to heart. A little time for gratitude and an opportunity to consider how we want to move into the rest of our day. With love, I thank you for being here with me this morning. Have a wonderful day. Peace. And you want to come on and say hello or goodbye? That'd be great. If you want to head off, that's fine.
Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, Nancy.
Have a good week.